Hello, my name is Mrs. Schertz, and I teach biology and AP Environmental Science at Saugus High School. And I'm going to show you some things that I do to help me relax. At home, I like to plant flowers. I like to garden. Now, we have a spot at the community garden as well for our vegetables, but I like to decorate with pretty flowers. So I'm going to show you how you can plant some flowers or succulents at home for your yard, your patio, your balcony, wherever you can plant plants. So what you need is you need some plants. So I got these at Lowe's the other day, but my favorite place is Green Thumb to get plants. Any of the garden nurseries around town, or Lowe's, or Home Depot, or Walmart garden department. What you want to do is you want some winter plants this time of year in November. So some things that live through the winter are things like mums. So I have a couple of different mums here. This one is a snapdragon. This one likes kind of early spring. So this is a nice one for this time of year as well. These can grow very tall. And then these ones here are dianthus. You want to read on the label whether it needs full sun or partial sun and make sure you put it in the right location for that. For succulents, one of the common mistakes that people made with succulents is that they put them inside. Now, succulents are from dry areas with a lot of sun, like the desert, and so inside there's not enough light for them. So this is a pot of succulents that I planted last spring, and it's been out on my patio and it's really super happy. And this one right here, I have 3 different ones and they've all grown like crazy here on my patio table because they love the sunlight. So if your succulents are dying, there's 2 reasons why your succulents might be dying. It could be from not enough sun, so put them outside, or too much water. Remember, they're desert plants. They're adapted to a little bit of water. This one's grown so much I can actually take cuttings. This one has some roots coming down, so I'm probably going to snip this one and put it in a new planter. But for now, let's go ahead and plant some flowers since that's what I have to plant. You need a pot of some kind. This one I just found on the side yard, and it had just soil in it. The plants had died a long time ago, so I decided to reuse it. So whatever you can reuse and find, reuse and find. Once you put pretty flowers in it, it'll make this, it's a rustic pot. It'll make it look nicer. You can go buy pots as well at the garden store. And if you have gloves, you can put them on and use them. If you don't, then just wash your hands real good when you're done. You also need some potting soil. So don't use just regular soil from your yard. It's not going to have good nutrients for it. So you need a bag of potting soil. I have big bags because I do a lot of planting. Here's a bag of potting soil here. Here's another brand here. And my favorite brand, if you're going to go buy one, is Miracle Grow. I don't have Miracle Grow right here, but that's my favorite brand. And if you have a small shovel, that's great. If not, you can use your hands. You also need some rocks or gravel. I happen to have a bag of gravel, but if you don't have a bag, you need some small rocks to put in the bottom. It improves drainage. So in the bottom of your pot, you want to put small rocks or gravel in the bottom. And what that does is it helps the drainage holes not become clogged. Also check your pot and make sure it does have drainage holes. Sometimes pots you buy at the store don't for some silly reason, but make sure yours has drainage holes. If it doesn't and you can drill through it, drill through, like if it's a plastic pot and you have an electric drill, you can drill holes that way. So potting soil should be wet. So I have some wet potting soil in my old bucket here. And just get it nice and wet before you put it in. This helps the roots take hold. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up about halfway in my pot. So I can show you my pot here. And so I'm going to fill up this pot about halfway with potting soil. And I'm going to kind of pack it down a little bit because I want to get rid of, when you water it, those pockets are going to compact anyway, so I want to make sure I have the right amount of soil in here. Okay, so I have about halfway full of potting soil, and now I'm going to decide what plants in here. There's too many here to go in the pot, so I'm going to choose I think I'm going to choose this white one, this white mum for the middle, and a couple of these little ones on the side. Now I have more pots to fill for winter, so that's why I have more plants here. So when you take it out, it is very root bound. You see all of these roots. They're all root bound, which means that they didn't have enough room in here and they need to be transplanted. So once I put them in here, they're gonna have some nice room to grow, but you wanna rough them up a little bit so that just a little bit here at the bottom so the roots know it's time to start expanding and growing. So I'm going to put this one here, but it's not quite as tall as I want. When I set it in my soil, I think I want it a little bit taller. So I'm going to add a little bit more soil so I can get the right height. That's a better height for what I want. Then I'm going to choose some of these other flowers to go with it to make a nice little arrangement. I have 6 of these. The nickname for these 6-packs are called pony packs. That's an old name for them. So I'm going to choose 2. Now be careful when you take them out. Try and grab them by the roots. So when you're taking them out of here, you want to grab them by the roots, not the top, and gently work them if they're not coming out easy. Sometimes what you can do is you can push them from the bottom to help push them up and out of the planter. So these are 2. They're kind of rooted together. They're all root bound here. So I'm going to separate them gently. I'm going to rough up the bottom a little bit. And these ones are going to go on either side of my mum for just a little extra color here in this pot. Now this is red and pink. I think I'm going to actually do a different color. I'm going to do this one here on the other side. I like those color arrangements a little bit better. So once I have these in here, I can fill my soil in and around it. But first I need to add a little bit more soil before I put these little flowers in. And so I'm going to start adding more soil in and around this mum. And if you find, oh, well, maybe it's not quite deep enough, you can take it out. You can kind of dig a little hole and put it in kind of where you want it. All right, so I want these guys now about here and maybe about here. And so now I'm gonna go fill in. Now, sometimes the shovel is not great for this tight, delicate work right here. So sometimes I just take my hand and I scoop it in because I can work it around these plants much better with my hand than I can with a shovel. All right, so now once they're in, you want to kind of push in a little bit around the edges so they're nice and solid in here. This one needs more soil around it, so I'm not quite done. All right. Now, one of the things that you can do if you're going to go buy potting soil for succulents, succulents are very popular right now, I recommend a cactus blend. It's called a fast draining cactus blend. So at the hardware store, they make a cactus potting soil, and that's the kind that works really well. That's what I used for that pot. And so that's what I recommend. When you're done, you can gently water it in. Now the soil's already moist, so it doesn't need water quite right away, but it's always good to just make sure it's nice and moist. The plants do have a little bit of shock when they're transplanted, so they might look a little wilty the next day, but they mostly perk right back up after they get settled in the new pot and the new soil. All right, so this is how you plant a pot. I hope you can plant one and find some relaxing and enjoyment doing it.